Welcome to the Student of the Game podcast, where I sit down with successful entrepreneurs to extract the knowledge you need to increase your income and avoid simple mistakes. You learn from their failures so you don't have to go through the same thing. I hope that you find one thing that can change your life in this episode. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for tuning in to the Student of the Game podcast. I'm Tim Stone here with our special guest today, Mr. Nathan Payne out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Nathan, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Let's jump right into your story. You are a real estate investor, wholesaler. You teach people how to wholesale. Tell us how you got started. Take us back a little bit.
Yes, I got started like 4 years ago. I didn't know anything about real estate, and I was doing door-to-door sales, and I was like, I don't want to knock doors anymore. I was making good money. I just didn't want to do it anymore. So I said, where can I make good money and not knock doors, right? And I thought about real estate. At first, I applied for I started networking. I applied for some jobs like insurance. I thought insurance agency, or owning agency would be a good idea. So I applied for to be an agent, and I went there and he interviewed me, and I was like, "How much do you make?" And he was like telling me how much he made, like 100K plus a year. And I was like, that's not that good. And you're the owner. So I'm not really that interested in that. And then I applied for like medical sales and kind of the same thing. It seemed like if you were just like a sales rep, you could make maybe at the time like 200,000. And I was like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to just work for someone and have that kind of cap. So talked to my buddy who his dad was doing wholesaling. I knew he did a little real estate in college. So I was like, dude, let's just do that here. So we partnered up, and then we just started grinding, and that's how I got into it.
Well, so take me back a little bit with the door-to-door sales. How did you get into that, and what was it you were selling?
So I was selling Dish Network, which is satellite TV. If people don't know DirecTV, that was kind of bigger back in the day. I started in 2012 and went for a couple years. It was like 4, 5, 6 years when I was in college. I got into it because in college, where I went to Brigham Young University, Idaho, which is a sister school of Brigham Young, that's a lot of people do door to door. And door to door, a lot of people don't know, but that industry, you can crush it. Like you can make tons of money. Like you can make like 6 figures in a couple weeks, like a couple months, right? Yeah, a lot of people don't know, and they just think it's dumb, but it's I went to like a convention for door to door. It was called D2D Con here in Utah, and I was meeting like multimillionaires that own jets and all that stuff, and all they just had pest control companies, they just had solar companies, so you wouldn't think so, roofing companies, but yeah, these guys are crushing it.
Yeah. I mean, even with our tax business, we work with a lot of guys that they don't even own the company. They're employees and they're making 7 figures.
Right. Exactly.
Selling door to door and, building the team, all that kind of stuff.
I know. Yeah. That's what I did. But I was like, I ain't trying to live that lifestyle.
Yeah. So you get into wholesaling because you kind of knew someone was doing it, knew about it, knew how you could do it. How did that start? What did the first, year or so look like?
Oh, it was just a grind. Straight grind. Just knocking. I didn't know how to do lead gen, so I just started knocking doors. We got our first deal from knocking doors. It took a while to close, but did that, cold calling. Yeah, just the normal grind, just looking for sellers. Right now, what I teach people to do is I teach people to find buyers before they start grinding, because when I started grinding, I didn't really know what a deal was. I just was looking for something. I don't know. I was looking for a giant discount. So I didn't really know when I had an opportunity. And I think I probably let a lot go. And a lot of ones I didn't get low enough, I wasted my time on. So I tell people, understand your market, understand your buyers, then go find deals. It'll save you a lot of time and money. Because I was dropping thousands of dollars in the beginning. Like, what happened when I first started is I started with $0. I started making money, and then I took that money and I reinvested it and didn't get any deals for a long time from that money. So it's just like burning it, right? Like, just because they would tell you, send out mailers. Okay, well, let me send out mailers, the absentee owner list. What they don't tell you is it doesn't work a lot.
Yeah.
So you just blowing money, especially noobs. If they just start spending money on marketing and they don't know how to convert those leads, you're lighting that money on fire.
Exactly. And I like that you got your first deal just door knocking, no money. Like that's what I tell people when when they ask how can I get into real estate or do something, I'm like, well, wholesaling does have a pretty low barrier to entry.
Right.
It's better if you can pay for marketing, but you could literally go knock on someone's door and do a deal for free.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what did that first deal look like?
The very first deal I did was from cold calling. Is cold calling the absentee owner list. There was a guy that was in pre-foreclosure, and he listed his home. No one bought it, so he was just chilling. He was just gonna let it go. We convinced him. We're like, dude, don't let this go to the bank. We'll help you avoid pre-foreclosure, and we'll give you some money. So we did that. And that was kind of the first deals. I had no idea what I was doing. I made tons of mistakes, but that's the name of the game, man. You don't even really need to know that much. You just need to be willing to take action.
Yeah.
know?
Did you still make a pretty decent assignment on it?
5K.
Yeah.
And I had a business partner, so we made 2,500, but we didn't take any of it because we were reinvesting it. So we put that all back into I think we hired some our buddies to cold call for us because we didn't want to cold call anymore, and that didn't work out. So
yeah. So you mentioned that one of the ways you teach people is like get your buyers first, have the disposition, because that's a really important thing. Is
it's huge,
a lot of people when they start is you spend all this time and focus and money on getting a deal, and then you're like, oh man, now I got to sell it to someone. Spend all your time, money, and focus finding a buyer, and then you've done the deal and you have no more leads, and you got to go back and so like talk about those systems. Like,
right?
Well, what do you teach? What is it you teach just on a high level?
Yeah. So I just to let everybody know that's watching this, I'm doing a 30-day challenge in the month of February where I'm actually going to a brand new market with no money, with no buyers, and I'm showing everyone how to do it from start to finish. So I'm in technically day 4 of doing it, but it's been 6 days because of the weekend. But anyway, so what I first did is I went and I established my goal of what I was trying to achieve, right? Because you got to know what you're trying to get so you can work backwards. So my goal is 2 deals in the month of February. So I know, okay, if I want to hit that goal, I need to have X amount of calls, X amount of buyers, X amount of offers. So now that I know what I need to do, now my KPI is like what I need to achieve every day. At the end of the day, if I don't achieve it, it's not a surprise if I don't hit my goal, right? Like if I don't get 2 deals. So if for example, if I know I have to do 50 calls a day, but I only made 5 calls in the last 3 days of the challenge, I'm probably not going to hit my goal, right? So, and that's kind of like how I would start is like, okay, start with the end in mind. What are you trying to do? What are the numbers you need to hit? And now that you know what you need to hit, now go find some buyers so you know their criteria. So that's what I did. I started calling title companies. They gave me a hedge fund that's still buying right now in Atlanta. So I talked to them. I know exactly their criteria, where they buy, what they want. So that was a good buyer. I talked to a couple other good buyers that tell me what percentage they buy at. So now my marketing, when I do market, is purely focused on what they want instead of just randomly like picking a neighborhood and thinking, hey, if I get this deal, it'll work out.
Find someone.
I'll find someone. Now I don't have that problem, right? So like, for example, the hedge fund wants a certain return on their investment, right? They want like certain return on their gross rents. So if I go find that in DeKalb County, for example, I already have a buyer in line. And if they deny the deal, then it's like, okay, well, at least I know that this hedge fund is buying. There's got to be other people interested in this area, right? And that I continue to find buyers, but that's a way more productive way to wholesale than just to randomly go find something in hopes you can find a buyer. Cause I did that when I first started. I was like, oh, Utah's hot everywhere. And we'd get a deal and then we'd be wrong on our numbers because maybe that area isn't as hot as what we thought, or people just aren't that interested in that street. So it's really important to kind of know your area and your market before you start wasting all your time and money.
So for your challenge, is that the city you're doing, Atlanta?
Yeah. So I started in Atlanta, and I grew up in Marietta and Roswell. So I was started there. And then I found out that the hedge funds and most people are buying on the outskirts right now because it's kind of, I don't want to say it's an overpriced, but I think right now, like, sellers still want a lot and they haven't come to their senses, and out there, they're a little bit more willing. So I'm going to start moving out a little bit to the outskirts.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the northern suburbs of Atlanta.
Yeah.
So with the challenge, where can people watch that?
You can watch it on my Facebook group. It's called the Painless Wholesaling Group. That's it. Painless, because Payne is my last name. Pain, and what I teach, I believe, is the painless way to wholesale instead of the painful way where you just look for a deal and you can't You don't know if you have a deal until you waste all your time. Yeah. So Painless Wholesaling Group, that's the main place on
Gotcha.
Facebook.
Yeah. So to develop a painless system of wholesaling, you probably had to go through a lot of pain.
Oh yeah, man. I did.
What stories come to mind immediately?
Oh gosh. So I started, I don't know if you heard about this strategy that came out of like nationwide wholesaling, where you would just turn on a pay-per-click ad, like marketing, and you would just get leads from all over, and you have to convert them and try to sell them to buyers that you'd find. Have you heard about that?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So
it's just
I did that.
everything, everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. So we're getting leads when we first turned it on. We did Facebook ads. We did that. We did it with pay per click on Google, and we're getting leads from everywhere. And we first started, we're like, oh, this is great. These leads are cheap and they're motivated. Then you find out, like, dang, no one's buying in the middle of nowhere in Kansas, obviously, or no one's buying in South Dakota, or maybe they will, but not enough for you to make it like a quick turnaround, right? And we were profitable, but it wasn't like, it was just a tough business model because you had to have a lot of people like working on the phones, and I just wasn't really, I didn't really like it that much. Some people have made it work, but then they got a beast of a business they have to run, you know?
Mhm. So it's just like ads for the United States is the whole target, or were you specifically targeting different
We
cities?
tried everything, man. We tried they told us ads for the whole United States and then specific states and then specific areas. But the problem with pay per click is if you hone in on specific areas, then the cost per ad, the cost per
It's
lead
way
is
up.
extremely expensive. Like in Salt Lake City, Utah, when we were specifically just marketing to Salt Lake, it was like $600 per lead to $1,000 per lead. And the
Mm,
clicks were like $100. So if your budget was like $800 for a day, I mean, that could be gone in 3 clicks and no one clicks on your thing, right? And that's hard to stomach for me. Like, even if you're making good money, it's like, I don't like that. I don't like that kind of model where it's like,
mm. You
you're
just have your competitors could just go keep clicking on
right.
it.
Yeah. You don't know what's going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a very painful experience, and people do it, and that's fine if they like that model. I like being more in a market that I understand and building relationships with buyers and then finding them deals and having a low cost to do business.
Mhm. So if someone was just starting out, would you recommend them to kind of just follow the step by step you're doing in that challenge?
Exactly what I'm doing. That's why I'm
Yeah.
doing it, right? Because I have a lot of students that, I give them the step-by-step play, and I don't think they don't know how to do it, even though I've showed them how to do it. So I'm like, I'll show you how to do it. Like, let me show you. So that's kind of why I'm going through it, because I believe in it. I believe that if you go to a brand new market with no money, you can get a deal. You just have to understand your market. So how do you do that? Well, you establish the relationships with the attorneys, the title companies, whatever, hard money lenders, buyers. Then you get a clear understanding what this market wants. Then you can go with confidence to talk to the little old lady who wants to sell her house. And you can say, hey, look, there's a lot of options for you. You can list, you can do this and this. And she's like, no, I just want a cash offer. You say, okay, that's fine. I'm going to be here. And then she's like, oh, that's so low. You're like, look, I get it. I know that's low, but that's what people are buying in this area. I know I buy, and I also work with other investors. So if that doesn't work for her, with all confidence, I can say, okay, look, then cash offer is not going to work for you. Let's explore other options. Have you thought about keeping it? Have you thought about flipping it? Maybe we can do a novation. I can list
Mhm.
it and I can pay for the repairs if there's any necessary, because it looks like your house needs some work, but that's the way we're going to get you the most money. Can we do creative terms? So that's how my process works, is understand the lowest you need to be in your market. And then when people don't want it, which 90% of people do not want your cash offer, you have other options to explore with them now.
Mhm. Can we talk about a little bit just the sales mindset behind it? I can tell just from a lot of the stuff you're saying, you're either a very natural salesman or a very trained salesman or both.
Right.
And I think a lot of people think it's just going to be pretty easy to come in, but there's a lot of skill behind what you're saying right there. Like
Yeah.
where did that start for you even before selling for Dish Network? Do you always know you wanted to do that, or was it just like getting your
Uh,
teeth kicked in until you're good at it?
well, I went on a mission for my church. I don't know if you see
Mm.
Jesus over there.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I love Jesus, but yeah, I went on a mission for my church when I was 19 to 21 years old, the LDS Latter-day Saint Church,
Mhm.
and Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And what I did is I just talked to people about Jesus for 2 years, got tons of rejection. And I right there, I like learned to overcome objection, not even overcome, but to handle objections, right? It's not a big deal. They're not saying no to you. Most of the time they're saying no to whatever you're talking about. So don't take it personal. And then I went to college. the sales process that I had during door to door was you had to get a sale like on the doors or you probably weren't going to get it. So I was trying to convince people like, hey, these are the pros of my product. These are the pros and these are the cons as well, but this is why my product's better than yours. This is why you should get it. So there's a lot of convincing. And then I got into wholesaling and I realized that there's really not a lot of convincing that you can do to have someone sell their house at a discount. Like there's like zero, right?
Mhm.
It's like, hey, if someone doesn't want to sell, they don't have a problem. Good luck getting them to sell at a discount. There's just no way. So I had to learn how to change my mindset of trying to convince people, which I was doing all up into that point. And I had to do a lot of sales training on like options, presenting like win-win scenarios, like Franklin Covey training, John Martinez, like just tons of stuff, training on that. And that's when I learned like your goal isn't to go in there and convince them to sell their house at a discount. Your goal is to find out what they need and then present them the best option for them. And if you can work together, great. If not, that's fine. Right. And that's how I got my start. So it's not like I naturally came in and was crushing it as a salesperson in wholesaling. It's a complete different sale than I was used to with door to door. Even on my mission, I was trying to like convince people a little bit like, hey, this will change your life and this will help you, right? Like when in all reality, like if I went back on my mission, talk to people about Jesus, I would mainly look for a problem. I'd say, hey, how's your life going? Do you feel like there's anything missing? No, I feel great. I don't miss anything. Oh, okay. Well, my message, like I believe it could help you, but if you don't feel like you're missing anything, then I can't really bring you anything. Right. So that's the same thing with religion. It's the same thing. If there's no problem, if there's nothing missing,
A hard sell.
it's a very hard sell. So the goal is not to find create a problem or convince someone of their problem, is to find it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I've gotten good at.
I've heard similar stories, and I don't think I've had someone on the podcast going on the mission, just like door to door, spreading the word. How did that help you? Really just the reluctance that a lot of people are going to have, like that you just ripped through it and got the reps in.
I love my mission, man. I actually kept a journal for throughout my mission every day for 2 years. So I have like 6 journals, and I was actually reading one last night. And yeah, man, every day as I read my journals, I'm like, yeah, today's the greatest day ever. I wasn't brainwashed or anything. I just had fun talking to people, and that was like my life was just to wake up, study, the scriptures, the word of God, and then go out and talk to people about it. And it was just pure invitation, right? It was like, hey, I'd like to share this message with you, right? Like, no, get away. I'm not interested. Okay. And that was it. Right. So that's kind of helped me in my life, is just to realize like, you can't make anyone do anything. All you can do is invite them, right? You can invite them to listen, invite them to, progress with you through the sales process or whatever the process you want to take them. So that's how it helped me. Take no's and then invite everyone, right? And it's the same thing with my coaching business. It's the same thing with any business. It's like if you believe in your product, then you'll tell everyone about it. You'll invite everyone. And if someone says no, it shouldn't affect you because you believe in what you're talking about. So it shouldn't hurt your feelings.
Yeah. I always say, like, I can't help you till you say yes, but no is my second favorite answer.
Yeah.
I'd rather you say no than maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe is a no, every
right?
time. Yeah.
Maybe it's usually like, oh, not a no, and you're just trying to be nice, and you got to get that out of them. Be like, hey, I know what maybe is.
Yeah, I love that. So what are some of the goals moving forward, building the wholesaling business, the coaching, teaching people how to do it, as far as the next step? Is it real estate? Is it something else? Or you wanted to build a portfolio?
Yeah, I don't. Real estate is cool to me. It's all right. But the thing that I really like is working with people and helping people progress. So as I'm doing this challenge, I'm really realizing, I'm like, man, there's so many things, like little things that coaches don't teach, that like I'm having to do, that we all assume that people know how to do, right? Like schedule your day, for example. Like does someone that's brand new to wholesaling really know what's worth their time? Do they really know like what's gonna be the right activities to take? No, probably not. Do they know how important it is to start their day off with like a role play or following up on their KPIs that they did yesterday? Like to do I call like self-reflection, right? Like I do this in my personal life, but even in your business, like with employees, you want to every day you want to stand up with them and be like, okay, how did you do? Why didn't you hit your numbers? And let's fix that, right? But a lot of people that work for themselves don't do that. They just wake up every day and they start calling, right? But it's like, no, every day you wake up and you look at your numbers and you're like, dang, man, I only talked to 3 people. Why did I only talk to 3 people yesterday? You got to hold yourself accountable as a business owner. And not a lot of people do that. They just keep going and they wonder why they don't have a deal after a year. And they're like, well, let's compile how many calls you made that year. Well, you made 80 calls that year. That's no wonder, you didn't do anything.
Yeah. To someone who doesn't really maybe they don't even know what KPI stands for or how it works. Could you explain how important that is and what that means?
Yeah, so KPI stands for key performance indicators. It's just specific things and tasks you need to hit or do in order to accomplish a goal, right? So there's a book called 4 Disciplines of Execution. They call it lead and lag measures. Like a lag measure, for example, would be like your weight, right? You want to get down to 150. And the lead measure would be like counting your calories every day. And a lot of people set their goals on the lag measure of like what the ultimate goal, like $1 million or 10 properties, or they want to lose a certain amount of weight and weigh 150 or something, but they don't really focus on what's going to get them to that end goal. And that's the KPIs. That's the lead measures, okay, counting my calories. How many calls did I make? How many buyers did I talk to today? What was my talk time? Like those little things that are really boring to track. And you're like, man, I made 100 calls today, but I didn't do anything. Well, it's the consistent action of those KPIs that will get you to the end goal. But as you're a new person, you don't really think about that. You're just like, how do I get a deal? You don't know that it's going to take 50 calls a day for a month consistently to do it. Most people don't know that.
Yeah. So that's where you think someone should start. Even from the start, I haven't done a deal yet. 50 calls a day.
The problem with 50 calls a day is they probably don't know who to call.
They don't know what to say, who to call, or what to say to them.
They probably don't have 50 people to call, right? They don't know where to start that. So again, it starts with establishing what your goal is. Okay. It's 10 deals this year. Okay. All right. Let's work that backwards. In order to get 10 deals, you need to do this much, right? Okay. Well, it's like, well, cool. Now that I know I need to do 20 calls a day, who do I call? Well, it's okay. Well, you got to call sellers, but if you don't know what area you're in, we got to tackle that first. You pick your area, you find your buyers, you understand your market, then the marketing starts. Then you're strapped and you're ready to go. Just like I'm in my challenge, it took me 3 full days of setting up my systems with no money, spreadsheets, calling buyers, title companies. Now it's like, okay, now I know if I get something in this price range, I'm 100% it's a deal according to what I've talked to. Like I'm good. I just need to find the deal now.
Yeah. One of the things you mentioned was reverse wholesaling. Is that the idea of just, having the disposition set up first, or talk about that?
Yeah. Reverse wholesaling. I call it painless wholesaling. It's the same thing. Working backwards. Yeah. Just having disposition set up. So yeah. Cause like, for example, I've been on the end of being acquisitions rep or working for myself and making offers and not feeling confident that even if I got the deal, it was a good deal. Like for me, if I wanted to keep it or if it was a good deal, like that sucks. That's a terrible feeling to be like, yeah, I can buy it. And they're like, okay, all right, we accept your offer. And you're like, uh-oh, I don't even know if I got this low enough. Like that sucks, right? Have you ever had that feeling where you're like, they accept an offer and you're like, I hope this works.
I've actually never wholesaled before, but I know what you mean.
Okay. Yep. Well, yeah, that's it. All it is. A lot of wholesalers will lock up deals and they're not deals. Like I'll give you an example. On my challenge, I made an offer. The second day I got a house under contract. I talked to an agent. We found out that the ARV of the property was 550 according to him. And I got it like at 390, right? So, and the house needed a little work. So I was like, dude, this is a deal. 2 days in my challenge, I already have a deal. This works. And I did some more research. I sent it out to the buyers I had, and they're like, dude, what are you talking about? The house is not worth 550. It's worth 450. So because my numbers are wrong, I didn't truly understand the area. Again, I've been there for 2 days at that point. I was just trying to take action. If your numbers are wrong, you wasted your time and you don't have a deal. So because I kind of just listened to the agent and went off of what he said instead of diving deeper, I was 100K off. So I had to call him today, renegotiate. I said, look, bro, you told me ARV was 450. It's okay. Sorry, 550. It's actually 450. So my offer is $100,000 off where I need to be. I'm at 390. I need to be at 290 and we can move forward. And he's like, yeah, the seller's not going to go for that. And I was like, yeah, I get it. But at with 550, what you told me it was worth, I'm going to lose money. And now at 450, I'm at 390. Now it's 450. That's 60K. And there's 50K of repairs. And the closing costs, all that stuff, I'm going to lose money.
No one's going to make money on it.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, well, the seller is just going to wait and chill. So that's what you find out. And again, I've been doing this for 4 years and I just got hit with it. So you don't think this is hitting noobs, brand new people? Of course it is. So
yeah. So where do people, get that good advice on the area if they're just starting? Like, how do you find accurate information?
Yeah. So what I teach is like where to find that info, right? So you want to get in touch with investor-friendly title companies, right? Because they'll give you buyers and they'll help you. Agents that represent cash buyers, so that they'll help you, right? Because you're going to go find deals so you can network with them. So
that's important. Realtors that work with cash buyers, because the average realtor has no idea how real estate investing works.
Yeah.
It's something I've been learning.
No, yeah.
Like absolutely no idea.
Yeah. You want to definitely connect with those. And there's ways that I show people in my program or on the live, like how to find those agents. It's really easy if you know how to do it. So investor friendly title companies, investor friendly agents, cash buyers in your area, and wholesalers that are successful in your area can tell you. Facebook groups for investing, like so many different ways to find out, right? So that's what I've been doing for the first 3 days, was going to an area, picking one, which I picked Atlanta, and then connecting with people to see where they're at. And I have a great idea of what people buy at now. It's 75 to 78% of ARV minus repairs, minus your wholesale fee. So if I find something in that range, like I'm good. But I also know through my math, I have a calculator, like I know exactly what to type in. And what else was I going to say? So yeah, just knowing what people are willing to pay. Now I can with confidence go and talk to sellers and make offers and not question or second guess myself if they deny my offer. I don't have to be like, maybe if I would have came up a little bit more, it would have worked. No, it's like, no, that's where people are buying. That's where I need to be. And that's a crappy feeling too. When you're new, is like you make an offer, it doesn't get accepted. You're thinking the whole time, like, maybe I could come up a little bit. And that's what happens a lot to wholesalers. That's why people hate them, is because they'll just give you the price that they think makes sense, tie you up for however long. And then they can't do anything. They got the price wrong.
Right. And then you can really not only waste someone's time, like really, really ruin a lot of things, especially if they're living in the house.
Yeah. If they're moving, if they start moving and you're like,
they're packing up their stuff, they got somewhere, they sign a lease or buy another house, they're ready to move out, and it's like, hey, we actually can't close at this price.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
It's scary, bro. It is scary because I go on these Facebook groups because I teach people how to connect with people on Facebook groups. There's countless deals on these Facebook groups by noob wholesalers that are absolute trash deals, like not even close, to the point where buyers that are legit don't even go on there anymore. They're like, I don't mess. Like I was talking to the agent who was wrong on his ARV with his deal, but I was like, hey man, this isn't going to work, but where else can I network? I just want to see what he'd say. And he said, avoid the Facebook groups. They're just a bunch of trash deals. So he even knows. He's like, those deals suck.
I'm in a lot of those Atlanta Facebook groups.
Yeah, they suck.
I don't look at them.
Yeah, no one looks at them, right? Like it's again, people like wholesalers will run the ARV and they'll say, hey, it's worth 550, right? They'll do me like that agent did me. They'll be like 550, and then you really look and it's like, bro, you got it locked up for the ARV. You got it locked up for what it's worth.
Yeah, and you also have never renovated a house before. You don't know what the repair cost is going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you teach people how to avoid those mistakes. I'm curious, and I think I asked the question. I can't remember if you answered it. Are you working on building real estate portfolio for investment wise, or?
Yeah. I right now I was running a large wholesaling company until like the market shifted, so I didn't really get to keep a lot of stuff, because as a wholesaler, you got to,
Yeah, you got to go.
You got to go, right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem I have with wholesaling. If it's just your main business, it's like, dude, this is the most active business out there. Like, I think it's a great exit strategy. And that's why I teach people how to start and learn it. But I think you got to move out of there as soon as possible. You got to move on to other stuff like flipping, holding, raising private money, and keeping, there's other strategies, but I think having a wholesaling in your back pocket is great, because especially as a flipper, you can't flip everything. But if someone presents you with a great deal, you're not just going to pass. If it's a great deal, you can say, yeah, I'll take it. And then wholesale
make
to
some money
someone,
on it.
right. So, yeah. So my goal is to build a portfolio. Yeah, I'd love to. And, not to be real, not something I really care that much about, because I talk to a lot of people that, I think I talked to someone that had like 1,000 doors or something like that. Another dude has like $300 million in real estate. And I'm like, bro, I could care less if I had $300 million in real estate, right? Like that doesn't get me excited at night, right? What gets me excited is just to have a lifestyle, like a real relaxed lifestyle where I can meet the needs of my family and go home, not worry about work, not worry about anything, and just provide for my family. Nothing crazy. I don't need to be like a trillionaire or whatever. That's not what drives me. What drives me is waking up, enjoying what I do, helping others. But so that's a long answer. Do I care? Do I want a portfolio? To be real, but I don't. Maybe if it comes along, and I think it will come along, but it's not really. I don't really care.
Yeah. So what's the long-term goal with this? Is it to keep doing what you're doing? Keep running this business, keep teaching people? Or is there another vision alongside that?
My vision, my goal is to help people like establish like the basic fundamental skills for investing. Like that's what I want to do, and I want to help people. Like, there's just too many people I talk to, and I've got like a heart for them. Like I talk to too many people who have joined mentorships and have gotten wrecked by like 10, 20 fortune builders, like rocking people for 20K. It's like, wow. And they just give you a bunch of videos, right? So my goal is to be like, hey, Investor Thrive is going to be right here, is going to be the number one stop for newer investors to learn the fundamentals of getting into investing, right? Like you're not just going to come here and be done, right? Like you're obviously going to go out and learn from other people, but at least you can learn the fundamentals, learn how to wholesale, learn how to get deals with little to no marketing spend, do this profitably and efficiently and ethically. And that's what I want to do, is be that company that helps people take their first step. Obviously I work with people that are more experienced, because I have more experience. So if they want to work with me, I can help them. But that's like on an individual basis. But yeah, that's what I want. I enjoy that. I enjoy helping people be better, whether that comes to financially or in their personal lives. But real estate wise, yeah, it's going to come. It always does, right? If you're in the real estate industry, you're going to get deals, you're going to get to keep stuff. And I have some doors, but it's not like, it has not been a pursuit, right? Like of something that I really am passionate about.
Yeah. So, covered a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff. And kind of the end, we typically wrap it up with just advice. And I know that's kind of what a lot of the podcast has been so far, but what advice would you have for a listener who is spending a lot of time listening to podcasts and not really doing deals?
Dude, my advice is go take some action. Like that's what I did when I first started. Zero knowledge of real estate, zero. And I knocked doors, and I knocked on the door of this guy. I said, hey, we're in the neighborhood. I work for a buyer. I didn't work for a buyer. I was working for myself, but I was saying I'm here working for a buyer. I knocked on the door. I said, hey, I work for a buyer. We're looking to buy homes in the area. Are you selling? The guy said, this isn't my house. This is my grandma's house, but I think she's selling. I said, great. Can I have her number so I can call her? He gave me her number. I called her. We set an appointment, blah, blah, blah. Like, long story short, we got the deal. So it's as simple as that, right? Like just go take action. And that's another reason why I'm so passionate about Investor Thrive, is there's just too many people who just watch stuff for years and they're stuck in analysis paralysis and they don't know what to do. It's like, let me freaking show you. I'm doing it myself. Like I'm willing to like get off of whatever I'm doing and start from the beginning. So for the beginner, just freaking take action, man.
Yeah. Do you think that was pretty natural for you, just to jump right in? Because it is a big problem that a lot of people have, is like, I guess it's just fear.
Yeah, they're scared of risking, whatever. Is that natural? My life, I've always taken action. Like in wrestling, I started wrestling in freshman year. Right, I sucked. Was the worst. My parents wouldn't even come to the matches half the time just because I was getting wrecked. But I was like, I didn't give up. Right, so I took action and got better. Right, so the next year got better, blah blah blah. And same thing. Went on a mission. Didn't know I'm Hispanic, right? But I didn't speak Spanish. My mission was a Spanish speaking mission. So I had to learn how to speak Spanish. So I got there, didn't speak Spanish. I'm a gringo, right? Like I had a mad American accent. So people were like, look at this dude. He's Hispanic and he talks like a white guy. Like his Spanish sucks. So same thing, like sucked, got better, right? So I know that in life, if you want to do anything, you got to start, right?
Yeah.
So
and it's okay to suck.
You will suck, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's going in there and knowing you're gonna suck. Like for another one is I started doing jujitsu like 8 months ago. I wrestled, so I had that background, but I went in there thinking I was gonna be okay. I was getting wrecked. Like thought I had strep throat for like a month because my neck hurt from getting choked out. Now I go in after 8 months, like I'm not getting choked out anymore. Like I'm choking people out. I'm better. And it's not a surprise. It's like that's just life.
That's how it
dude.
works.
That's just how it works. So for the person that's watching this, that's like, I don't know what to do. It's like, hey, well, I'll tell you what to do. Start, and then you'll get better. That's it.
Yeah, well, that's good advice.
Yeah.
What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Facebook group is money. So you could do, sorry, I just got a text on my screen. So best way to get in touch with me is Facebook group, painless wholesaling group. I have investorthrive.com. If you see that behind me, investorthrive.com is my website. And then I have a YouTube channel. So I have every platform, but investorthrive.com, or if you go to YouTube, it's Nathan Payne. You can check out my free trainings or my Facebook group. Those are the three that I would check out.
So painless wholesaling, is that with a Y or an I?
Yeah, painless, like my last name, Payne, painless wholesaling.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. We also had to reschedule this a couple times, so I appreciate you being patient.
Bro, I love rolling. I love rolling with the punches, man.
I do too. I mean, I don't like to script it or anything. Like, kind of just hit record and see what happens. But I do appreciate this.
Yeah.
Hopefully the listeners will get some value, because it's just, I mean, it's pretty simple the way you break it down.
Bro, it's the most simple thing ever.
It's hard and simple at the same time.
Yeah,
it's not easy. It's simple. It's not easy. That's the way to describe it.
Yes, I mean, even for me, like on my lives where I've committed, I'm like, man, I don't really want to call anybody. Like, that's just what happens. That's why I got out of door to door, because I was like, I can make great money knocking doors, but I don't want to knock a door. And I think that's what it really comes down to is people want financial freedom. People want what they think they want, but they're not willing to do what it takes.
Yeah, you just got to do things you don't want to do sometimes.
And that's exactly right. I think the most successful people probably did stuff that they didn't get a reward immediately. They didn't get instant gratification, but they were willing to be consistent, and that's how they succeeded. Yeah.
Well, we can kind of wrap it up here. Is there any last words, anything you need to leave with them?
No, I think if you've been thinking about getting into wholesaling, I think the best time would be to watch me do it and see if you can handle it. Cause I'm starting off as a brand new person, like a noob. I started with $0 when I first started. I'm starting again with $0. Let's see if I can get it done.
Yeah. And those live streams, will they be on YouTube as well? Say someone's listening to this like a year from now.
I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the lives. I'll probably put it into like a course, so people can like buy it. Cause basically what I'm doing is I'm going through my course live, and then I'm going to put it into the course. Actually, I'm putting it into the course as I go, to have every step have a video on like how to implement it. And I'll probably sell just the 30-day, separately.
Yeah, there we go. Well, we'll jump in while he's still doing it, but
jump in while I'm still doing it.
If you're listening to this for a year from now, go ahead and buy the course.
Yes, please. And we will be, like you said, a year from now, we're going to be the number by end of 2024. So give me 2 years. No, 20. That's in a year. Yeah. So in 1 year, I bet I will be the #1 company for newer investors to go to learn the basic skills to get into investing in real estate. That's the goal.
Yep. I believe it.
Thank
Well,
you, brother.
Nathan, thank you so much for the time. I think it's been a good podcast. I appreciate all the listeners, and we'll wrap it up here. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning into the Student of the Game podcast. If you listened all the way to the end, I would love your feedback. The best way to connect with me is to reach out through Instagram. Leaving a thumbs up or a review on whichever platform you're tuning in from will really help this podcast reach more people. So if you found it valuable at all I can ask is that you would do that for me. Thanks. Until next time.